Hello, dear learners. I'm Dr. Kaveri Swami, Professor, Department of Political Science, Christu Jayanti College. Today, I'm going to talk something about Constitution and its features. So, very first thing I would like to start with the meaning of Constitution. So, we say that Constitution is nothing but it is a bundle of rules and regulations. To prepare the constitution for the country, we had a Constituent Assembly which came into existence in the year 1946. And the Constituent Assembly consists of so many subcommittees, out of which one of the most important committee that we have is Drafting Committee. And the chairperson of the Drafting Committee was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. We have taken almost 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days to complete the Constitution. Finally, the Constitution was completed on 26 November 1949, but we brought the Constitution into implementation from 26 January 1950. So now let's begin with the features of the Indian Constitution. So the very first thing that we have is the preamble. Now, preamble is always been referred as a brief introduction to the Indian Constitution. It talks about the aims and objectives of the framers of the Constitution. It has also been called as a preface, which generally tells us what is there in the Constitution. It has also been referred as a political horoscope. It has also been called as a proper yardstick through which one can measure the worth of the Constitution. And the next one that we have is written constitution. Generally, there are two different types of constitutions. One is you have written and other one we have is an unwritten constitution. And India is an example of having a written constitution which was enacted by our Constituent Assembly. The Constituent Assembly was specially set up to frame a constitution. Thus, a written constitution is one which has been framed and adopted by a definite assembly at a particular time, and it is available in the form of document. Next one is the lengthiest constitution. So, Indian Constitution has been referred as the lengthiest constitution of the world. It originally consisted of 395 articles, 8 schedules, and these schedules will later be increased to 12 schedules. So, this was adopted on 26 January 1950. Later on, as I said, that Indian Constitution became the world's largest constitution, which runs around 4,000 pages and includes the various features like citizenship, fundamental rights, duties of the people, directive principles of state policy, union and state relations, etc. So, as I told you earlier, that it consists of 4,000 pages, and due to which it has been considered as the world's largest constitution. It has also been referred as an elephantine constitution, or you can say elephant-sized constitution. Many times, Indian Constitution is also been referred as a basket of borrowings. And after that, we see the next one is rigid and flexible. So, when we talk about India, we say that Indian Constitution is a blend of both rigidity as well as flexibility. Our Constitution is not as rigid as USA and not as flexible as UK. So, it is a combination of both rigidity as well as flexibility. For example, some sections like change in the name of the state or abolition of a legislative council can be done by the parliament through the process of a simple majority. Not only this, many clauses requires a special majority of the parliament. After that, we have the one more most important the feature of Indian Constitution is fundamental right. So fundamental rights are being also considered as the basic rights which are required for each and every individual to develop his personality. So these fundamental rights are being enshrined in the Indian Constitution under Part 3, and these are basically being borrowed from USA where it was being referred as Bills of Rights, and USA has taken this concept from UK where it was being referred as Magna Carta. So initially the fundamental rights consisted of 7 rights, okay, but later on what happened with the 44th Amendment Act of 1978, we can see that right to property is been eliminated from the list of fundamental rights. So right now we have only 6 fundamental rights. The first thing that we have is right to equality, which comes under Article 14 to 18. Second, right to freedom, which comes under Article 19 to 22. Right against exploitation, Article 23 to 24. Right to freedom of religion, Article 25 to 28. Cultural and educational rights comes under Article 29 to 30, and the last one, that is right to constitutional remedies, under Article 32. This right to constitutional remedies are also being referred as a heart and soul of Indian Constitution by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. The next one that we have is fundamental duties. So these fundamental duties are incorporated in the Indian Constitution through the 42nd Amendment Act of 1976. The newly inserted Part 4A of the Constitution consists of one article, that is 51A, which specifies the 10 fundamental duties. And out of these, the first that we have is to abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, the national flag and the national anthem. Next, to cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired our national struggle for freedom. Next is to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India. Next is to defend the country and render national services whenever called upon to do so. Next, to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood amongst all the people of India, transcending religious, linguistic, and regional or sectional diversities, and renounce practice derogatory to the dignity of women. Next, to protect and improve the cultural environment, including forest, rivers, and wildlife, and to have a compassion for the living creatures. Next, to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. Next, to develop the scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform. And next, to safeguard public property and abjure violence. Next, to strive towards the excellence in all the spheres of individuals and collective activity so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of the endeavors and achievements. Recently, the 11th fundamental duty has been added through the 86th Amendment Act of 2002, according to which it is a fundamental duty of every parent to see that they send their children to get their primary education until the age of 14 years. And the next one we have is Directive Principles of State Policy. This Directive Principles of State Policy is enshrined in Part 4 of our Indian Constitution. Article 36 to 51 gives the detailed information about DPSP. This Directive Principles of State Policy has been borrowed from Ireland to measure the social and economic development of the country. So many times this Directive Principles of State Policy is also been referred as a toothless tiger. The simple reason behind this is that it does not have a judicial backing. So basically, the Directive Principles of State Policy is being categorized into 4 principles, namely socialistic principles, Gandhian principles, liberal principles, and general principles. The next feature of the Indian Constitution is independent judiciary. So the Constitution provides for an independent judiciary where we say that judiciary is neither under the control of legislature nor under the control of executive. So Indian Constitution has established a single integrated judicial system with the Supreme Court at the apex and High Court at the state level. The Supreme Court serves as a custodian and the defender of the Constitution. The next is we have the parliamentary form of government. The concept of parliamentary form of government has been borrowed from UK. UK has also been referred as the mother of all the parliamentarian form of government. However, Indian Parliament consists of President and 2 houses, namely Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So in India, all the executive powers are vested in the hands of the President, though all the powers are vested in his hand, yet he's been referred as a nominal executive, whereas the real executive is the Council of Ministers, which has been headed by the Prime Minister. The next element that we have is federalism. So Indian Constitution is federal in form with a basis towards unitary. It has dual government, one is central government and the other one is state government. So you can find that there is a distribution of power between both the center and the state. And the concept of federalism is being borrowed from Canada. The next most important feature that Indian Constitution has is universal adult franchise. So according to which the Indian citizen after attaining the age of 18 years has a right to vote irrespective of caste, creed, sex, status, and place of birth. The next is we have single citizenship, where we say that India is a union of states, but Indian constitution has provided a single citizenship to foster and strengthen the national feeling and national integrity. By achieving unity in diversity under single citizenship, excessive localism, then regionalism and other narrow outlook can be avoided. So wherever you are born, you are an Indian, and that's what is the identity. The next is we have secularism. So the concept of secularism is being added in the preamble through the 42nd Amendment Act of 1976, according to which we say that India does not have any religion as a state religion. So according to which every citizen of India has a complete freedom to profess, propagate or practice any religion of his choice. The next is method of amendment. So amendment is a process to change the constitution. So part 20 and article 368 of the Indian constitution deals with amendment. There are basically three different methods to amend the constitution. The very first thing is certain provisions can be amended by the Union Parliament through the process of a simple majority. Second one, certain other provisions can also be amended by a difficult method. And the third that we have is the bill must be passed. That is, whatever the amendments that we are trying to bring in the constitution, the bill must be passed by the 2/3 of majority in each house of the parliament. The remaining provisions can be amended by a difficult method. The bill must be passed by a 2/3 of majority in each house of the parliament and ratified by more than half of the state legislature. That means more than 50% of the states have to give an approval in order to bring the change in the Indian constitution. Next is we have emergency provision. So Indian constitution contains an emergency provision which empowers the president to meet with an extraordinary situations effectively. There are basically three different types of emergency. The very first thing is we have national emergency, which comes under article 352, and this emergency is being imposed whenever there is an external threat, invasion or external disturbance or disorder. The second one is we have a state emergency which comes under article 356. This is also been called as a president's rule. So generally this has been imposed when there is a constitutional breakdown in one state or more than one state. The third most important is the financial emergency, which comes under article 360. So this emergency has been declared when there is a financial instability or the crisis. So the best part is that Indian constitution has not yet declared the financial emergency. So that's all for the class, and thank you so much. If you have any queries, you can put the queries. Thank you.